Britain at the Ballot Box, a definitive guide to the general elections and political shifts between 2001 and 2019. In 2001, Tony Blair secured a second massive mandate, winning 413 seats. A mandate is the authority given by voters to a winning party to carry out its policies. The Conservatives struggled in opposition under Ian Duncan Smith, whose leadership failed to provide a credible alternative to New Labour. The 2003 invasion of Iraq marked a definitive shift as Blair's foreign policy began to erode the trust of his own voter base. The streets of London saw the largest protests in British history as millions voiced their opposition to the conflict. Salience refers to how important a specific issue, like the Iraq War or the economy, is to voters at any given time. Despite the controversy, Labour won a third term in 2005, though with a significantly reduced majority. The majority fell from 167 to 66, reflecting deep-seated public dissatisfaction with the government's direction. In 2007, Gordon Brown finally took over as Prime Minister, promising a more serious and industrious style of government. Brown's early premiership was defined by the decision not to call a snap election in 2007, a move that led to damaging accusations of indecision. The global financial crisis of 2008 then struck, forcing Brown into a massive bank bailout that redefined his time in office. Valence issues involve governing competence. Voters judge parties on who they trust most to manage public services. The 2010 election brought an end to 13 years of Labour rule, resulting in a hung parliament. The map showed a fragmented nation, with the Conservatives winning the most seats but falling short of a majority. A coalition is a government formed by multiple parties when no single party has a majority. Cameron and Clegg joined forces, but many voters felt their mandates had been compromised. The coalition immediately implemented a program of austerity, arguing that deep cuts were necessary to reduce the deficit. Fiscal discipline was the cornerstone of the coalition's economic argument, justifying the controversial cuts to public spending. However, these cuts hit public services and the most vulnerable hardest, sparking fierce ideological debate over the government's priorities. Central to the Liberal Democrat campaign had been a high-profile pledge to scrap student tuition fees. However, in government, the party voted to triple fees to £9,000, a move that alienated their core student base. Delinement describes the process where voters stop identifying strongly with their traditional parties, leading to more volatile election results. In 2015, the Conservatives won an unexpected majority, while the Liberal Democrats were decimated at the polls. The 2015 map showed the near-complete erasure of the Liberal Democrats as a major parliamentary force. The 2016 referendum was a watershed moment, exposing deep geographical and generational divides across the country. What followed was years of political turmoil and negotiation deadlock, as the government struggled to find a path that Parliament would accept. A referendum allows the public to vote directly on a single issue, bypassing the traditional representative process. Theresa May's 2017 election failed to provide the mandate she needed, leading to further years of parliamentary deadlock. The 2017 campaign saw the rise of Corbyn mania, as Jeremy Corbyn's anti-austerity message unexpectedly mobilised younger voters and surged Labour's vote share. The 2017 map reflected this surge, resulting in another hung parliament and stripping the Conservatives of their majority. However, by 2019, that momentum had evaporated. Divided over Brexit and leadership, Labour suffered its worst electoral defeat in over 80 years. In 2019, Boris Johnson took over, promising a clear path forward through the Brexit impasse. The Conservatives centred their entire campaign on a three-word slogan: "Get Brexit done," simplifying a complex issue. The 2019 map showed the historic collapse of the Red Wall as traditional Labour seats in the Midlands and North turned blue. Partisan delinement was central to the 2019 result, as voters prioritised Brexit over their long-standing party loyalties. Johnson secured an 80-seat majority, the largest for the Conservatives since Margaret Thatcher in 1987. This victory signalled a new political reality, built on a cross-class coalition of voters united by Brexit. In 2020, as the UK finally left the EU, the global pandemic struck. The subsequent Partygate scandal would deeply damage Boris Johnson's authority, signalling fresh political turmoil and the problems still to come. From the stability of the Blair years to the turbulence of the Brexit era, British politics has been fundamentally reshaped. The story of these elections is a story of changing identities and the enduring power of the ballot box. As the country moved forward, new players entered the stage. Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer inherited a nation transformed by 2 decades of upheaval, facing a future still being written. Ultimately, these elections show us not just who won, but why the country changed.